So, for this week, I think I'm going to talk about boundaries and personal disclosure. This seems to be something that hems up a lot of people. The best way I've ever heard it explained to me is don't share anything you don't want on the 5 o'clock news, and anything you share with the client should be for the good of the client. An example, if you have gone through a painful divorce, you should not be having the conversation with a client about your painful divorce. But at the same time, if they are going through a extraordinarily painful divorce or something similar to an experience you had, you may share that you can relate to where they're coming from because you've been there, a friend of yours has been there, close family member, whatever. But don't get into the details of it. A lot of people seem to think that sharing not intimate details of their life, but personal details of their life can be okay due to the fact that it builds that bridge. Please don't mind my dog. He's up on the couch with me. He's decided he doesn't like the thunderstorm that's rolling in. But yeah, going back to the personal disclosures and sharing of personal information, you should always ask yourself, who does this benefit? Does this benefit me, or does this benefit the client? And if you cannot honestly answer that it 100% is being said or shared for the benefit of the client, probably shouldn't be sharing it. I've been in this field for almost 18 years now. I started in this field when I was 19, and I'll be turning 37 this year, so seen it bring down a lot of people, even people with the best of intentions. The other thing that seems to get people, especially people that are new to the field, is boundaries. Again, this is something that most places have a zero tolerance policy for. In my tenure in this field, I was a supervisor for a company doing DLS, which is daily living supports. And I had a young staff. They were 19 or 20. They might have been 21. And for those people who don't know Maine is a small town. It is not uncommon to have clients that are in the same towns as you. It's not uncommon to run into people if you work in a hospital setting. I live in Augusta, Maine, third, maybe fourth largest city in the state of Maine, and it's got a total population of just over 20,000 people. I swear, my block when I was younger, growing up in New York, had more people than my entire, quote, city does. Waterville, again, a city, 15,000 people in 15 square miles. So it's a small community up here. And depending on where you are, the communities are even smaller. Anyway, young staff member who worked for me, brand new in the field, heart of gold, full of the best intentions, had a client that she was working with a client that lived in the town next to her. And she was trying to help this client integrate into larger social circles and engage with a larger number of people because this person was fairly reclusive. So her family was having a barbecue, and it was a completely dry barbecue, no alcohol at all there. And some of the neighbors were coming over and stuff like that. It was going to be a small community event. So she decided that she was going to pick up her client and bring her client to her family barbecue. Well, that happened to be a day that I was doing a pop-in visit, and called him up and said, "You're not at your client's house. Where are you?" And she says, "Oh, we're out in the community." I said, "Great, that's awesome." Getting this particular client out into the community was a huge problem. This client would go months without leaving her house if she could, or at least her property if she could. So I find out where they are. I drive down. And as I drive down, I see her boyfriend and her kids and some of her other friends, and I see other people that I know are related to her. And I pull in, and obviously I can't say a lot in the middle of this, setting. So I pull in and I talk to her, and I find out what's going on, and I asked her, and she said, "Oh, well, it's kind of a neighborhood thing. We thought it would be good." I'm like, "This is your house. Come see me on Monday." I was hoping I could just get away with doing some retraining and, giving her counseling and reinforcing the boundaries training and those kind of things. Unfortunately, my boss, the director of the in-home support program, didn't give me that option, and I ended up terminating her. Best of intentions, horrible, horrible idea. And I just wanted to take a few minutes and kind of share those thoughts and experiences with you, because time and time again, this is what I see hem people up. It's what hems people up in the community. I've seen it hem people up in the hospital settings. I've seen it hem up people with the best of intentions, but as professionals, we need to remember there is a very clear line between professional boundaries and a professional rapport, and sharing information with clients that we shouldn't. If a client talks to me about their children, they might ask if I'm a parent. I'll tell them that yes, I'm a parent. If they want to know if I have boys, girls, how many, what their ages are, I tell them that that's not really something that I'm comfortable with. But I encourage them to talk to me about their children. If I'm dealing with somebody who's going through divorce, I'm not going to share my personal experiences and bring up all the crap that I went through with my ex or whatever, but I can tell them that I can relate to an ugly breakup. And then again, encourage them to talk to me about their experiences. It should always, always, always be client-centered. And I guess the reason I'm bringing this up for this week's topic is even where I work now, we have had some issues with poor boundaries, oversharing, breaking down of that professional line. And it's not with just the mental health workers or new staff in the field. We've had people who have been with the hospital for years that are having this issue. We are having PhDs that are oversharing, and clients are telling me way too much about their doc. So it's an issue that kind of needs to be talked about, and people need to be aware of, and needs to have attention brought to it, at least occasionally. I hope the video is going to post well, and I hope this gives you guys some food for thought. Thanks for listening.